my name is Monica Blanco, and this is my assignment 5, putting it all together, what now? And this assignment goes along and talks about my Unit 4 assignment that I did. So, do the task yield appropriate evidence of identified understanding? So, within my unit, the students will be able to do the following: recognize and evaluate continuity and change over time, analyze the context and draw conclusions about continuity and change, investigate and connect continuity and change to a contemporary issue, and use their understandings of continuity and change to make a claim or advance a thesis using evidence and argument. So I currently teach social studies for 6th grade students. So one of the big main ideas within my entire unit and within all the modules for my curriculum is the students understanding that societies develop and change over time, and exactly what factors help to lead to those changes. So students will understand the big idea that over time people, things, and places change, but some things remain the same or change very little. It is also important to understand that my students understand the fact that the changes that occurred back in the day, even during the ancient civilizations time, still affects us today. And that's kind of one of the big main ideas over this specific unit as well. So something else I wanted to add, that the unit tasks include bell works that connect students to their lessons, writing samples, illustrated activities, academic discussions, exit tickets, vocabulary, assessments, as well as self-assessments and informal assessments. I believe that these tasks do show evidence of their identified understandings, and the instructional design that educators implement needs to organize instructions and information logically using common sense. So, do the task involve a complex real-world application of identified knowledge, skills, and understanding? So, one of the first activities that we do every single day as students get to my classroom is a bell work. And these bell works are if you were there prompts that come from my curriculum. And I love these if you were there prompts to use as bell work, because it not only helps my students to switch that mindset into a social studies, but also helps them connect to the reading. So it provides them with a scenario that relates to that lesson, to that specific reading. And it has my students try to determine what would they do in that specific situation. So I love those bell works. Some other things that we specifically did then in this unit that demonstrate those real world applications are drawing early irrigation models, a debate activity, and ranking society contributions. So in the irrigation model, my students were asked to illustrate an early irrigation model, and they did this with a partner, with a group. And these models involve real world applications, since irrigation models are crucial towards development of a civilization. And that also connects back to the earlier points of understanding that big ideas, people, and things change over time, since irrigation is still something that is very crucial to our society today, not only for our food and like our development. So I thought having these students develop these irrigation models would help to make that connection between the past and the present. We also did a debate activity. So in this activity, students debated the importance of losses to a society. Students were instructed to use and examine ancient civilization and current events as their evidence. So the students broke up into 2 groups, and they had to have an academic discussion / debate about whether or not laws were or were not important to society. And as evidence, they were supposed to use, ancient civilization evidence from their textbook, but also I wanted to connect it to their present life. And they used current things that they felt were important about laws that we should or shouldn't have. Another thing that we did was ranking society contributions. So this activity involves complex real-world applications, and students were instructed to judge Phoenician contributions based on how these contributions still affect society today, connecting it back to that big idea earlier about how civilizations and things change over time. However, one of the main things I want my students to understand, that even though some of the stuff that we're learning about happened thousands of years ago in the BC era, it's still something that we use and affects us, and is crucial to our society today. So I really like that ranking of society and contributions. Are a variety of appropriate assessment formats used to provide additional evidence of learning? I believed yes. So this unit uses a variety of appropriate assessment formats. I included a variety of assessments, both informal and formal, in this unit. Informal students included the bell work that connects students to the lesson, writing samples, illustrative activities, academic discussions, exit tickets, vocabularies, and informal observations of students' understanding. But again, for every module, we have a formal assessment, which includes a pre and post assessment, where the results are compared to each other in order to check for growth. And the pre-assessment is taken before the students begin before they begin the unit, and the post-assessment is done at the very end. That way I can compare the two scores and check to make sure that my students' growth of understanding is increasing. And then are students given the opportunity to self-assess and reflect on their performance? I believe yes. So students are provided the opportunity to self-assess and reflect on their learning and performance in an informal format throughout each lesson. So after each lesson's reading, students are provided with the opportunity to use or gain knowledge to participate in academic discussions regarding the reading. Here is when students self-assess their understandings of the reading and grow in their understandings with their peers. In addition, each student is also provided with the opportunity to self-assess their learning and performance in a formal format regarding how well they are able to use their gained knowledge to apply it to each lesson. And finally, a formal format is which students self-assess their learning performance would be during the post-assessment, depending on how well they perform on that post-assessment. And then these are my resources. So this was my presentation. Thank you so much for listening to it. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. Thank you.